Good morning, good afternoon, good part of the day to all our participants today who joined our Information Day for Youth Actions under EU program Erasmus+. We are happy to communicate to you today all the opportunities which are open for Erasmus+ program, and we are doing it in close synergy and cooperation with the European Commission, with the Salto Youth Resource Center, and also with the information centers for Erasmus+ Youth and European Solidarity Corps, and the national Erasmus+ offices in the Eastern Partnership countries. We welcome all the youth and youth organizations and other institutions who are working with the youth and actually is interested in the changes in the development of the youth, in the education of our young people. And Erasmus+ for Youth provides the non-formal education, while a lot of opportunities are open also for the formal and informal education for youth. And I'm very happy today to invite for the welcome speech our representative of the European Commission, the policy officer of the European Commission Directorate General for Education, Youth, Sports and Culture, Ivana Novsky. Ivana, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, Svetlana, for announcing me. I'm very happy to be here with you today. As Svetlana already said, my name is Ivana Verhovsky, and I work in DG Education and Culture in the International Unit, where I'm responsible for cooperation with Eastern Partnership countries and also Russia. First of all, huge thanks to all colleagues who participated in the organization of this event, my colleagues in the national Erasmus offices in the Eastern Partnership countries, and all the other colleagues in the youth information centers, and of course, colleagues working in the Salto Research Center. My task today here, and what I would actually like to tell you, is an overview of the current policy context for cooperation with Eastern Partnership countries, focusing, of course, on youth, but also I will say a few words about education policies, and the support that we provide through different programs. Primarily, we will focus today on the Erasmus Plus program, and the more details in a very nice presentation you will hear later from my colleague Andriy. First, a little bit about the general context of the Eastern Partnership cooperation. So the previous cooperation framework just ended in 2020. And since that time, and actually even a little bit before that, we were discussing the long-term policy objectives for our cooperation with Eastern Partnership after 2020. Now we're already 2021, and the long-awaited Eastern Partnership Summit that was supposed to endorse the objectives for the current period has been postponed so many times. It was supposed to happen in July or June or July 2020, and now we are already December 2021. And actually yesterday, it was a very exciting day because the Eastern Partnership Summit finally took place. Everybody was very excited looking at the press conference, at least I was, and trying to see whether all the discussions and policy preparations that we have had beforehand were endorsed by the leaders. And I'm very happy to say that for the areas of youth and education, and this is also what is interesting for all of you, all our proposals are on board, and we're continuing in a very similar direction as before, with even more opportunities and more funding to support our work in these areas. So at the Eastern Partnership Summit yesterday, the leaders committed to enhancing their cooperation along the lines of the 5 long-term policy objectives. Bear with me, I'm going to read them out. 1, developing resilient, sustainable and integrated economies. 2, ensuring accountable institutions, the rule of law and security, quite important, I would say, in the current context in the Eastern Partnership. Developing environmental and climate resilience, delivering a resilient digital transformation, and creating resilient, gender equal, fair and inclusive societies. And of course, you will see that all these priorities, which also mirror to an extent European level priorities, are then reflected in our cooperation in Erasmus Plus and our work on youth, skills development, also digital transformation, and work in youth, especially on fair and inclusive societies. The Eastern Partnership goes beyond just relations between governments, and this is something that was done yesterday in the political discussions, but also young people, local authorities, civil society, media, businesses, and all other stakeholders have been closely involved in the preparation of our post-2020 cooperation agenda. In connection to the summit yesterday, there was a number of side events, and one of them, which was quite important for youth in the Eastern Partnership, was the 5th Eastern Partnership Youth Forum, an online event that was held from 23rd to 24th November, and it brought together young people, youth workers, and policymakers who were discussing values and youth participation in democratic processes, as well as all key achievements of our cooperation before 2020. Andriy, who had a key role together with his colleagues in the Salto Resource Center, of course with the Slovenian presidency who organized this event, will be able to tell you more about it. And I'm actually assuming that a number of colleagues who are watching today's event already took part in the Eastern Partnership Summit. So the conclusions from this also were fed into the discussions of the leaders yesterday. So to get a little bit more concrete on what it means for us, under the policy objective investing in people and knowledge societies, a new deal for youth was proposed by the EU earlier, and then it was discussed with the leaders and partners in the countries. And this new deal for youth is focusing on educational reform, so modernization and innovation of education and training, including digital education, and also development of skills, youth employability, entrepreneurship, and youth participation. So these are all very crucial elements of our policy in the Eastern Partnership for the next period. Under this policy objective, an important target has been endorsed by all the stakeholders, which concerns mobility and exchanges. And the top, one of the 10 top targets for the Eastern Partnership. So we are quite an important area of cooperation, I would say. If out of the 10 areas that the leaders agreed we will focus on, we are one of them. So the target will be to implement by 2025, 70,000 individual mobility opportunities and exchanges for students and staff, researchers, young people, and youth workers. So you see here already the priority and the emphasis that is put on youth. This, of course, comes together with the support for education reform, and the concrete financial supports and opportunities will be achieved through our Erasmus Plus program, but also Horizon Europe, primarily Marie Sklodowska-Curie actions, as well as European Solidarity Corps, and EU for Youth, a regional program that we have for youth in the Eastern Partnership. Just to add, because it is important in the context of youth, we will continue cooperation in the area of sport as well, in the framework of the European Week of Sport, and we also continue our cooperation with creative industries and creative and cultural stakeholders in the Eastern Partnership, primarily through the Creative Europe program. Probably a lot of you already know that 2022 is announced as the Year of European Youth. This is what our President von der Leyen announced in her speech in September this year. So preparations are hectically ongoing for all the events that we plan to happen in 2022. And we look forward very much to the participation of Eastern Partnership organizations and stakeholders in all these events. I'm looking at the time. Okay, maybe I have 2 more minutes, Svetlana, just to say a few words about introductory words about Erasmus. Yes. So because most of the support, as I already said, for youth will be provided through the Erasmus program, and details you will hear about shortly. I will give some just broad outlines. So the total budget for the current Erasmus program is quite substantially increased from the previous program. In the previous program, it was 14.7 billion, and this MFF, multi-annual financial framework, this is the EU jargon, it's 26.2 billion euros, which considers the core Erasmus funding. And then we add to this also the external funding, meaning the money that is dedicated for cooperation with third countries and our partner countries, and of course Eastern Partnership included. We add additional 2.2 billion, so the total budget is quite high, 28.4 billion euros. This in itself already means an increase in opportunities for participation, and this is actually the message that I want to give to you here. In terms of horizontal Erasmus priorities, I already touched upon this a little bit earlier. They are mirroring the broad EU policies as well as the objectives of the cooperation with Eastern Partnership. So a lot of focus will be put on environmental sustainability, inclusion and diversity, digital transformation, and participation in democratic life. Of course, in this respect, participation of youth from remote areas or disadvantaged areas, rural areas, it will be particularly important also to not to always work with the usual suspects, as we say, but try to really reach out to as many youth as possible. In general, the new Erasmus program offers more international opportunities also in the field of education and training, where we have additional actions in capacity building for vocational education and training, for example, but also virtual exchanges. I think my colleagues will say more about that, so maybe I don't talk about this too much. One thing which is important to note, and also in yesterday's Eastern Partnership Summit, Belarus did not participate because Belarus suspended this participation in the Eastern Partnership. But of course, on the EU side, we want to continue to cooperate with the people of Belarus. This political stance and message is also translated in the program, which means that as of call 2022, with Belarusian participation, only projects that benefit directly individuals, so not the organizations and institutions or authorities, will be possible with Belarus. Concerning Erasmus Plus youth actions, there are opportunities under Key Action 1, mobility, also opportunities under Key Action 2, cooperation projects, which Andrei will talk about in detail. And then also for youth specifically, but not only for youth, there are virtual exchanges, which I already mentioned. Virtual exchanges for higher education and youth, a new kind of cooperation, very pertinent in nowadays context with the COVID and everything being online. And by the way, I would have always preferred to talk to you in person. I hope this is going to be possible sometime soon. Finally, 2 more programs that are important for youth besides Erasmus Plus. This is the European Solidarity Corps, which includes a strong international dimension through the involvement of young people in organizations from third countries who can participate in volunteering activities. And we know that the Eastern Partnership Youth is already participating in that, and we encourage continuous participation. And finally, the EU for Youth program, which is already in its 4th phase, and it started actually in 2017 after the last Eastern Partnership Summit. And the EU for Youth program will continue providing capacity building support, but also support to exchange and cooperation projects selected around thematic topics such as climate, environment, transition to work, or some other topics. It is also foreseen in parallel to support for developing a more structured youth participation in policy making in the Eastern Partnership. And also a lot of work is being done on the policy level to try to mirror some of the processes we have on the EU level for youth, primarily youth dialogue and establishment of national youth councils and their participation in decision making. I think I've gone overboard with my time, but hopefully I covered everything that would have been of interest to you. I thank once more all my colleagues in the NEOs, in Salto, in the information centers, for all their dedicated work on the promotion of the program. This event is here because they made a special effort, and it was my pleasure and privilege to speak. I will also stay a little bit with you, not throughout the whole event, in case there will be some specific questions for me. And with this, I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Ivana, for the presentation of the programs and actually for the all opportunities which European Commission supports the young people all over the world, and particularly from the Eastern Partnership, and for the good news about the more opportunities and more funding for the youth actions which were taking yesterday. And I'm sure that jointly and synergizing between the National Erasmus Plus offices, between Salto Youth Center, Resource Center, and the information centers, we would do a lot of promotion of these opportunities that we'd have and celebrate together, hopefully offline, the winners meeting of the participants of today's stream, of today's InfoDay. Thank you very much. And we come now to Andrei Pavlovich from the Salto Youth Resource Center, who has been actually, I don't know, I've known you since 2009, since my first months of work as the National Campus Office Coordinator. And since then, you are the most Erasmus Youth on Move, Youth on Action, how to say, guru for me personally. And let me invite you to present the opportunities for our youth throughout the world, and particularly for our region, Eastern Partnership region. You're welcome.
Thank you, Svetlana. It's a big pleasure to be actually this historical event, because it's first time the network of info centers, of Erasmus Plus, Youth and European Solidarity Corps programs, together with the network of national offices of Erasmus Plus program, is participating in the same information activity. So it's my big pleasure to be here. And also it's a good historical moment, because as my colleague Ivana already mentioned, yesterday we had Eastern Partnership Summit in Brussels. So it was the day after we have our information meeting. So it's a period full of different historical events. And I believe due to our cooperation, we will manage to involve more beneficiaries from our countries. We will involve also new regions, new stakeholders, and I do hope that we will manage to use the resources which are available for cooperation between program countries and Eastern Partnership countries in the frame of the Erasmus Plus program in youth sector. Unfortunately, I will not be able to stay with you to the end of the meeting because I have a flight in 2 hours. But at least yes, it's my pleasure to be on this first session and also to participate in this question and answer session. So first, my plan is to introduce you briefly a bit more details about opportunities of cooperation in the frame of Erasmus Plus program. Ivana already mentioned in general about context, political context of the EU youth policy and EU youth programs. And also, I think I can start also with some slides which will describe you a bit more the context of these programs we can participate. Let me know if you can see my screen. Yeah, yes. So first, I would like to invite you to have a quick travel in time to the past. As Svetlana mentioned already, we know each other quite long. I am lucky to be in a good place in a good time when the Celto Eastern Europe and Caucasus Resource Center was established. It was the end of 2003, enlargement of the European Union, when the community to provide the same in Caucasus as we had already for Western Balkan region and Southern Mediterranean region. So in general, we can say that since 2000, we got this opportunity. I mean, the neighboring partner countries, the countries which are not program countries from the neighborhood, to participate. But first, it was only applicants had to apply to Brussels, to the executive agency in Brussels. And since 2003, it was possible to be granted to get financial support at decentralized level by national agencies of the program countries. So this year 2003, this is the first year when all NGOs, youth organizations from the program countries got this opportunity to involve partners from the neighboring partner countries and to apply together to the national agencies for future activities. And for the next...
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Maybe you could try to share your screen with us again, because we see only your first slide and they are not moving.
Okay.
If you try to do it like for the full screen. Okay, start again.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Now, this is the next.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. So just to remind that in general, as also it was mentioned in the EU programs, mechanism of 7 years planning, called 7 years financial perspective. So this year is the first year of the new financial perspective, for the period 2021-2027. Last year, we just finished the previous financial perspective, which started on 2014. So I'm a bit joking that in Soviet times, we had this 5 years planning approach, planning economy. We call it the European Union. We can call this planning approach as semi-letka. So now it's the first year of the new semi-letka. But of course, this new programs, new offers are based on the previous experience, on the luggage of our activities which were already implemented. And just to mention that the first program which was eligible for participation and for partnership between the program countries and the neighboring partner countries was the program Youth for the period 2000-2006. Then since 2007, we had new program which was called Youth in Action, and it was actually first program which had a separate sub-program which was called Action 3, which was specially designed only for partnerships with the neighboring partner countries. So it was really also a good moment for us to increase visibility of this cooperation and to provide also more resources, more support for partnership building. And in the end of this Youth in Action program, we had the first Eastern Partnership Youth window in 2012 and 2013, and it was also a unique opportunity also for youth organizations from the region of Eastern Partnership countries to take a leading role, a role of coordinator in the project partnership consortium, and to apply on behalf of all partners directly to Brussels. Since 2014, we have Erasmus Plus program which united all sectors, and we want to say that for us it was also not so easy to understand what will be our place in this new construction of the European Union programs in the field of education and youth. But I believe that finally we managed to find a good also solution how we can be also stronger together. As a slogan of Eastern Partnerships, that due to this cross-sectorial approach, we can benefit from different sectors and also to use different resources which were developed for specific needs of specific sectors. And actually, I also would like to mention that at the moment in Salto, we have 8 resource centers in total, 7 in youth sector and 1 in the sector of education and training. Salto Training and Education is based in Budapest. We have 3 regional Salto resource centers. 1 is based in Paris for Southern Mediterranean countries, for North Africa and Middle East. In Ljubljana, in Slovenia, we have Salto Southeast Europe for the Western Balkans region. And our Salto is based in Poland, in Warsaw for Eastern Partnership countries and Russia, Russian Federation. Russian Federation is recognized as a separate region. And since 2018, we have two programs. As probably you know, that the volunteering program now is a separate program, which is called European Solidarity Corps. And in fact, now we are working simultaneously in both programs, Erasmus Plus Youth and European Solidarity Corps program. And the setting of countries is a bit different. We have one more country we are in charge of is Norway. So for Erasmus Plus program, we have 7 countries, and for European Solidarity program, we have 8 countries which are supported by us. And sharing. Ivana from yes, can you see next slide?
We see your second slide.
And now you can see the next slide. Yes, joint declaration.
No.
No, you don't see it?
No, we do not see it. Okay, now yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I just collected a few quotations from the yesterday's joint declaration of the Eastern Partnership Summit, which are related to youth field and youth sector. So here you can see that it is mentioned the 5th Eastern Partnership Youth Forum, which took place a few weeks ago. It took place online in frame of Slovenian presidency in the European Council. And actually the main topic of this forum was how to develop youth participation in civic life, in political life, at national level and at local level. So that's why also it's reflected in this declaration that this topic have to empower the civil society, and youth participation is one of the key priority of the Eastern Partnership cooperation. It's also mentioned that the network of young European ambassadors will be doubled. So there is expectation to have 2 more times members of this network, which will be able to promote European values, European cooperation. And also the plan is that at least 2,500 local civil society organizations also will be involved into cooperation in frame of different programs which are eligible for Eastern Partnership countries. It's also, so that's, let's say, main points we can highlight from this declaration, which are related to youth. And Erasmus Plus actually is the most recognized program which involves young people, youth workers, youth activists from both regions. And this new perspective will have even more resources, financial resources, but also thematic opportunities to develop new partnerships and to add big value to this cooperation. So when we are talking about general purpose of this Erasmus Plus program in the field of youth, we can say that the idea is that this program is promoting participation of young people in different educational mobility activities in the field of non-formal, formal, and informal education. And in our case, when we're talking about youth sector, we are mainly focused on non-formal and informal learning processes, which are reflected in general in different methodology of youth work. That's very much in line with the strategy of youth participation, which was developed by the Council of Europe in 2016, and also by Youth Pass and the European Training Strategy, which were developed also by the European Union institutions. When we talk about the past, the main achievements, what was achieved by participants of the previous program in 2014-2020, I would like to show you some sociological survey data about what people perceive as the biggest benefit from due to their participation in international youth workers and young people mobility. And as you see, the biggest number of respondents.
There is still third slide is on the screen. Third slide. Okay.
Okay, my slide was.
Okay, yes, now we see.
Okay, maybe I will use this way.
Okay, yeah, great. Why Erasmus? Mm-hmm.
Why Erasmus? So you can see that 94% of respondents mentioned that the most beneficial for them was experience of group work and of communication with people from different cultures. 1% less mentioned communication in foreign languages. 90% mentioned about skill of negotiation, and 88% mentioned about the skill of public speeches, expression of their opinion during different team discussions, work in small groups. So here we can see that actually when we are talking about soft skills development, due to Erasmus Plus Youth program, majority of participants developed social skills, linguistic skills, intercultural skills. The most, let's say, recognized impact which was achieved due to activities under Erasmus Plus Youth program, but of course not only. So it's, based on this experience, the new program designed specific objectives related to promotion and support. When we're talking about promotion, can you see the next slide? No?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Right. So I will not use slideshow, so I'll just use this way of introduction. But when we are talking about promotion, the main objectives are to increase participation of young people in democratic life in Europe, to develop civic engagement of young people, intercultural skills, social inclusion, solidarity, learning foreign languages, and also to develop linguistic and cultural diversity of Europe. And something what is new is also to promote green solutions and eco-awareness. That's something which was not present in the previous perspective, and we have a special focus in frame of this new financial perspective for this issue related to ecology and environmental awareness. When we talk about supporting, so the main tasks are to support professional development of youth workers, to develop key competencies among young people, to provide opportunities for innovation in youth work, including reaching out to digital technologies, and to provide opportunities for internationalization of youth cooperation. And the main expectations towards new program are to have increased number of participants, direct and indirect beneficiaries, to have more diverse profile of participating organizations, to have easy start in the program for new organizations, and greater impact of individual and organizational mobility thanks to supporting long-term internationalization. So let's say that's about general expectation. Sorry, I need to interrupt for a moment. My general director is coming to me.
It is usually very difficult to manage the time in terms of the youth on move, or in terms of this mobility, and Andriy today jumped through his flight from Ukraine and from Warsaw to Ukraine, so it just a lot of mobility and participation in different youth events happening with the Salto Resource Center youth. And I'm sure that the key window for all cooperation which have been provided by the Salto Resource Center is very valued by all Ukrainian and other countries' young people and youth organizations, since it's really a strong window with the resources, with the recording of a lot of information, a lot of seminars, trainings, and the calendar with different useful events. So we really encourage you to have a look and to search through the Salto Youth Center website, which is really very much useful. Andriy, back to you.
I am back. Sorry for this break, but I just received information from my general director of my foundation that I actually a few minutes ago was nominated to a new position of deputy director of the Department of External and Cross-Sectorial Projects in our foundation.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Andriy, you earned it.
Thank you. So
absolutely.
Good moment for me. So I will have one more occasion to celebrate in view my meeting with my friends. Svetlana, thank you very much for promotion of our website. Actually, maybe that's a good moment to show our website to our participants, because I'm not sure everybody is familiar with our internet resources. So I would like to show you just main tools of our website. So this is our website of the network of Salto resource centers. As I mentioned, in total we are 8 resource centers, but one is not in the field of use. So here we have only a portal for Salto resource centers in the field of use, in the use sector. We have, as I mentioned already, we have 3 regional and 4 thematic resource centers. I already mentioned about regional. I just will mention briefly about thematic. We have one resource center in Estonia, which is called Salto Participation and Information, and they have really a lot of good resources about youth participation, and I can also recommend you to visit their portal, which is called participationpool.eu. So this portal was developed by our colleagues from Estonia, participation and information, and here you can find many resources about youth participation, media information, critical thinking, promotion and outreach, and digital transformation. Really a good place to learn more about these fields. And we have Salto Training and Cooperation, which is in charge of youth path, of recognition of non-formal learning, but also for European training strategy development. And they are based in Bonn, in Germany. We have one Salto based in Vienna, in Austria, which is specifically focused on the program of European Solidarity Corps. And we have also one more Salto in Brussels, in Belgium, inclusion and diversity, which is focused on inclusion and diversity issues in youth field. And when we are talking about our tools, I just would like to highlight 2 the most popular tools we have. One is called Atlas. So you can also just use the address www.atlas.eu. So this is the best way to find partners for international projects in frame of Erasmus Plus program, other EU programs, and also non-EU youth programs. So you can see here that at the moment we have almost 14,000 organizations registered here, and many of them already introduced this platform, different ideas for future international projects. So you can search here for partners. You can add also your own organization, and I also would recommend you to include also your organization into this platform. And you can also co-create common projects together with your new partners, so you can also have a look which project ideas would be interesting for you, and then you can contact potential partners and start to discuss how to cooperate on further development. So that's one tool. And another tool is called European Training Calendar. So that's the database of all educational activities for youth workers and young people in the field of non-formal education. So you can also click here, and in this case you will receive regular email notifications. You don't need to visit this calendar each week. You just need to enter it once and then to define what is your field of interest, and then you will receive regular notification about all news. At the moment, you can see that we have different, we have 13 upcoming training courses, seminars. So you can also find this training course Power to Use, take place in Luxembourg next year. And unfortunately, not each activities is open for participants from the neighboring countries. Like this one is only for the program countries, but you can filter and then you can find which activities also are eligible for participation for participants coming from the neighboring countries. So when we are talking about portal, there's two: European Training Calendar and Outlier Partner Finding platform are the most popular among our users, and also I recommend you to use it more actively. But also, platform which is developed by Caucasus. This is called Salto online learning platform, and here you can also find doesn't allow me to enter this platform, but it's also a good occasion for you, especially in these difficult pandemic times, to participate in different educational activities online. And so last year, yes, this is our platform, HOP platform, hop.saltouse.net. So it's 40 different developed by different stakeholders, by different institutions. Also open for regular participation, so you can learn which online activity will be interesting for you, and then you can also participate in different learning online models which are present at this platform. Just would like to mention that this platform is only for and skill developments for youth workers which are going to develop activities in frame of Erasmus Plus and European Solidarity Core Program. So it's not a general tool for everybody. It's focused on specific two programs which are established by the EU and which are eligible for cooperation with the neighboring countries. Okay, and now I would like to come back to my presentation. So I mentioned already that there are expectations that we will have more participants, we will have more diverse participants. In our case, for example, we also have this expectation that we have some countries which are very active in the Erasmus Plus program, like Armenia and Georgia. When we calculate the number of implemented activities per capita, the number of population in these countries, you can see that actually they are the most active in the region. On the other hand, we have countries which have much less number of activities, and also there are some countries where only mainly organizations from the capital cities are present, like in Moldova or Azerbaijan. That's the cases when we still need to work more in order to approach newcomers, new organizations from the regions of the countries. We have to deal with Belarus. That's, as was mentioned already, individual participation, it's possible. The issue is how institutions from Belarus will be able to participate, especially some of them, majority of them lost legal entities. So they're not legal entities anymore since this year. And that's why I believe it will be designed a new approach which will allow non-legal entities from Belarus also to be present, active in some of the Erasmus Plus and European Solidarity Core programs, or maybe we also discuss about opportunity to introduce Belarusian civil society, Belarusian youngsters by organizations which are registered in the EU member states, Albania, Poland, or another country. which are already, many of them are actually established by Belarusian people, and I think it could be also a good solution how to keep this contact, this relationship. Belarusian.
We could see your screen, still the website of Salto with the Hope Online Learning. Will you stop sharing it and start sharing your presentation? Thank you.
So can you see now?
Not yet. Okay, stop sharing the screen. Okay, yes, fantastic.
But now?
We see 8 slides. Erasmus Plus use, 21-27, expectations.
As I mentioned already, so our expectation is, first of all, to keep partnership relationship with Belarusian civil society and youth organizations. We still don't know how to do it, and unfortunately, the situation is very difficult. So we need really to analyze all risks and chances for future cooperation. But for sure, our intention is to keep the door, to keep the window open for Belarusian civil society for their participation in Erasmus Plus and European Solidarity programs. We would like to have new stakeholders, new beneficiaries in, especially in countries where mainly capital city-based institutions are dominating, like Azerbaijan and Moldova, and that's also our priority. And we also would like to have more organizations which are specialized in the field of inclusion and diversity. So that's also our Salto priority for and our expectation for the new program. We also would like to highlight this added value of cooperation between the program countries and the neighboring partner countries. As I mentioned, the only program which had it very strongly emphasized was the Youth in Action program. Today we have this opportunity in terms of different programs to involve partners, but we do not have a special, say, we have different summits, like yesterday's summit in Brussels, we have different political declarations, papers, but still we are missing let's say, more simplified ways to involve partners from the neighboring countries. And luckily, in the case of the European Solidarity programs, we have the same rules for all stakeholders involved, so we don't have any limitation for projects from the neighboring countries. But that's not the case of the Erasmus Plus program. Unfortunately, we still have different additional rules specifically for involvement of the neighboring partner countries, or we have some limitations like 15% of budget of national agency, which can be used for activities with the neighboring partner countries. That's the issue which is still important topic for us, and together with our colleagues from French and Slovenian regional Saltos, we are going to continue our campaign for better recognition and for better development of this specific field of cooperation in terms of the Erasmus Plus youth program. We plan to have big
next slide, please. Try to scroll in.
I have a lot of slides, so I will. My colleague Ivana, she already mentioned about main key priorities, so I don't want to repeat it. What is, just to emphasize that what is new, we have 2 new priorities: digital transformation and environment and fight against climate change. That's something new, because inclusion and diversity we had before, participation we had before. So digital transformation and ecological issues are something which were not present in the previous perspective. We have also specific youth quality standards, which were also defined by the European stakeholders, and you can also find more information about this quality criteria, quality studies under this link. I will share my presentation later, organizers, so it's possible also to get it by email. But when we are talking in general, what should be included into the project, we can say that there are 6 main elements which have to be reflected when you plan your future project activity: learning process, inclusion and diversity, protection and safety of participants, environmental sustainability, digital transition, and Erasmus youth quality standard. Of course, not each element has to be present in the same degree. Some could be more important, some could be less, but at least all of them should be mentioned and reflected in your constructing your activities in the frame of Erasmus Plus program for young people. And I mentioned already about the partner countries. When we talk about the program countries, we have 27 EU member states and 6 non-EU program countries: Iceland, Liechtenstein, North Macedonia, Norway, Serbia, and Turkey. Unfortunately, UK is not anymore the program country, and involves them, so they are not even neighboring partner countries anymore. So if you have British colleagues, you need to find another programs or another options to involve them. And now coming to the essence, to the actually key moments of my presentation, what we can do together. We have 2 key actions in frame of the Erasmus. In the frame of the key actions which are eligible for cooperation with the neighboring partner countries: mobility projects for young people, we have mobility projects for youth workers, and we have youth participation activities. Youth participation activities, that's also something new. We didn't have this opportunity before in frame of the previous perspective. So frankly speaking, I don't have good practices of such activities yet. I know that this year some applicants applied in different countries for these activities. There is a limitation that these activities should take place only in the program countries, not in the partner countries. But I also believe that it could be interesting opportunity. But this time during this presentation, I will not pay a lot of attention to the specific type of activities because it's still too new, and we still also need to learn more about what is possible. In frame of the key action 2, we have opportunity to apply for cooperation partnerships. But here we also have this mind that we need to justify what is the added value of such project, of such cooperation partnership project. It is possible, but of course, my recommendation would be to contact the national agency you are going to apply to in order to clarify if this explanation you are planning to include into your project proposal will be good enough for them, because in different countries they could have a bit different this type of projects. And now I just would like to briefly to mention about main criteria, main project elements for each type of possible cooperation activities. First, I will start from the youth exchanges. So when we are talking about youth exchanges, we need to have at least 2 partners, 2 countries involved. So it is possible to have bilateral youth exchange, but also we can involve more. We can implement trilateral or multilateral youth exchange as well. It has to be based on the methodology of non-formal learning, and it has to be based on the interest of young people. So that's also very important to emphasize in your project proposal. That's the idea of this youth exchange was developed in cooperation with young people, not only by youth workers, by leaders, by let's say adult people, but by youngsters who will be directly benefiting from this activity. And what is not youth exchange? Academic study trips, festivals, holiday travels, training courses organized by adults. So such types of activities are not recognized as youth exchange. Eligibility criteria. Actually, when we're talking about entity, what kind of entities could be involved, it's quite flexible approach. It could be, first of all, majority actually of beneficiaries are coming from NGOs, from non-profit organizations. We have also some beneficiaries which have entity, a public entity, and they are public body at local, regional, or national level. It could also it could be a social enterprise, or it could be also informal group of young people. That's something which will be used for Belarusian partners without legal entity. So if your partner in Belarus lost or does not manage to get legal entity, you can involve them as informal group of young people. And the activity could be organized in a program country or in a partner country, so it's up to you to decide. But the applicant of the project proposal has to be established in the program country. So applicant from a program country is applying on behalf of all the partners involved. The target group, the age group, young people aged from 13 to 30. Group leaders have to be at least 18 years old. And the total duration of the project will be from 3 months to 24 months. Activity itself will be from 5 days to 21 days. And the number of participants will be minimum 60 and maximum 60 participants in total. So, for example, if you have bilateral activity, you need to involve at least 8 youngsters from each country. And maximum you can involve 30 youngsters. And when talking about finances, so we have actually, that's something new, it wasn't before. We have also a special budgetary position for organizational support. So we have also a lump sum, €100 per participant, and each organization can receive it to provide organizational support for the activity, and that's something which also, in my opinion, is very helpful for project management, and it helps to avoid some, let's say, unpleasant situations when before organizations had to really be, let's say, very flexible with other positions of budget to also to cover some organizational costs they have. And travel costs are calculated in the same way as it was before. So we have a special calculator, and it depends on the distance in sending placement and hosting placement. And we can have also individual support for participants used during youth exchange, and inclusion support. Inclusion support is for young opportunities, for example, young people with disabilities. So in this case, you can also plan €100 per participant in youth exchange, which has such specific needs, also covered in terms of the budget of the youth exchange. You can also plan preparatory visit, and in this case, you have also a lump sum per participant, and this sum includes travel costs and subsistence costs. Exceptional costs are also planned. It includes visa and visa-related costs, residence permits, vaccinations, medical certifications, also some additional, let's say, travel costs of participants which are related to lower carbon emission means of transport, or some specific, let's say, means of transport. And also in some cases, some national agencies also ask for a national guarantee. In this case, you also can plan it in your budget. So that's very briefly about youth exchanges, mobility of youth workers. The main idea is to develop competences and skills of youth workers to provide for them different learning opportunities, learning mobilities at international level. There are 4 types of activities eligible. Study visits, networking and community building, training courses, seminars and workshops. And again, here we have information what is not youth worker mobility, so it's more or less the same situation like in the case of youth exchanges. And also in this case, we have some opportunities to have complementary activities, which also help to disseminate the results or to involve some maybe additional specific groups. In this case, you can also plan some additional budget for complementary activities of your learning mobility project for youth workers. And preparatory visits are also possible. So actually very much recommended, especially for newcomers, to plan such preparatory visit in your project proposal, to have opportunity also to discuss face-to-face different issues related to the activity. And when we talk about entities which are eligible to participate, especially if more or less the same, like in the case of youth exchanges, we can also involve informal group of young people as well. That's also possible. So again, that could be helpful in some specific cases. And maximum number of participants could be 50. Duration of activities could be from 2 days till 60 days, and the total duration of the project could be from 3 months till 24. And the structure of the budget is similar to the youth exchange. We have personal support position, travel position, individual support, inclusion support, preparatory visit support, system development and outreach activities. It's something new for, that's something specific only for youth workers mobility projects, and we have exceptional. And in the two, we have apply for cooperation partnerships, but as I mentioned again, it's eligible only for consortium, for partners which justify the added value why partners from the neighboring partner countries are involved. And the idea is to increase the quality of and relevance of the activities, to develop and reinforce the networks. And in this case, you need to show that you have measurable outcomes of your project, something you can also use after the end of your project. I would like just that the total duration could be between 12 months and 36 months. The budget could be from 100,000 to 400,000 euros. And I just would like to show you one example which was financed by Polish National Agency. It was a project entitled Social Media Marketing Skills for Fostering the Inclusion and Employability of Young. We had partners from Poland, Latvia. The budget of this project was 133. And due to this project, youth workers who are working with young people with disabilities and young people themselves got the opportunity to learn how they can use new methods for better quality of their professional work, and have to foster the social and economic inclusion and employability of young people with disabilities, and how to equip young people with disabilities with knowledge and relevant skills in social networking. How to also to overcome the stereotypes associated with opportunities of a person with disability in the labor market. So it was a good practice, and that's also an example that yes, it is possible to have such activities. It's not so easy to implement this activity, also to get granting, but you need, as I said, you need to contact national agency in advance to discuss, and also you are welcome to contact Salto from our side. We'll be also happy to provide all necessary support, and of course the network of info centers in Eastern Partnership countries which are present also during this meeting. They are practitioners, so they actually know even better than we how to cook the project, know the kitchen of the project. And actually, I would recommend you first to contact info centers in your country, and then if you have some specific additional questions, you can also contact us in Warsaw, and we can also try to find together some solutions how to involve you into international cooperation in time of Erasmus. Thank you very much for your attention. That's very briefly about different opportunities, and if there are any questions, I will be happy to answer.
Thank you very much, Andriy, for the very full picture of the opportunities open for the youth in our countries, and specifically also for the resources the Salto Youth Center provides and the trainings. And particularly, we are really interested in jumping into the program and trying to absorb all possible actions which are open for our countries. And with this also, we would like to highlight that in fact the cooperation partnership you mentioned at the end really new action within the structure in the new architecture, but by its nature it reminds a lot the strategic partnership which actually were before, and we all our countries have some experience in that, and particularly in Ukraine we had around 20 strategic partnership already involved the organizations from Ukraine who were able to justify their value added. So I absolutely support you that it is possible. Yes, it is difficult, but you can find the right justification to bring the value added to the objectives of the goals. I know from our colleagues that there were not questions so far. Maybe from my side, a very small question to you about the search for the partners or search for the applicants. Will you provide some tips on where to apply? Of course, we noticed and well noted the resources you provided via Salto use. Any other tips for that kind of exercise, which is really challenging for our countries? Would appreciate that.
Actually, that's the biggest challenge for the newcomers, have to find international partners for experienced organizations at national level or at local level. Not necessarily they have also experience at international level. And as I mentioned already, first I would like to recommend to search at our Atlas partner finding portal. So that's a good database, and I think that's also a good option. But frankly speaking, in my opinion, the best way to find partners is to participate in different partnership building activities or training courses organized by national agencies or by Salto. So at the European Training Calendar, the second tool, which was presented by me, you can find information about all upcoming educational events, and I really encourage to apply and to go. And then during this activity, when you will participate for 4 or 5 days together in some partnership building activities or some training courses, you also will see who, more or less, who is who, and that's also a very good occasion to start to do. It's a bit another case. We did not plan to talk about the European Solidarity Program, but just like to mention that in this case we have a specific system of accreditation. So we have quality label awarding process. So if you want to find partner for volunteering international activity, in this case you need to search the database of organization which already got such quality label. And also, if you want to be a partner, you need also to apply for such quality label by yourself as too. It's not the case of Erasmus Plus program. Since this year, we also have accreditation system for organizations from the program countries. So they have opportunity also to get such, let's say, recognition document that they have experience, capacity to run different international activities, and they have simplified way to get grants. But it's only eligible for institutions, organizations from the program country. So it's not the case of the partner country. So if you are coming from the partner country, you don't have to apply for accreditation in order to implement youth exchange or learning mobility activity. In this case, you just need to find a partner from the program country and then to decide together what kind of activity you would like to do.
Thank you very much. And one question we have about youth exchanges. So it says that it is youth exchanges. Does it mean that this is exchange possible between our countries and program countries? I mean, partner countries and program countries, or it is only one way flow?
No, it's possible. Each time you need to have at least one program country involved. For each project of Erasmus Plus, that's a minimum criteria to have at least one country from a program country, but not necessarily EU member state. So before it was EU member state, bilateral activity with something new. You can also keep in mind. So for example, if you from Azerbaijan and you would like to organize something together with your Turkish colleagues, partners, you can organize youth exchange only for Azerbaijan and for Turkey. You don't need to involve EU member state. And also activity could be hosted by organization in both countries, program or partner. So it's also up to partners to decide in which country it will take place. So if you have, let's say, five, six partner organizations coming from different countries, you need to decide together who will apply and then in which country who will host. So Usually, if you have a partner from, if you have partners from program countries, the national agency would like to have, if it is hosted in a program country, we would suggest that in this case, this organization from this hosting country has to apply. For example, let's say you have partners from Germany, Poland, and Lithuania, and you decided that Lithuanian organization will host this activity in Lithuania. So in this case, we would recommend that Lithuanian applicant will apply on behalf of each partners to Lithuanian national agency. But theoretically, it is also possible when another NA in Lithuania, but frankly speaking, it's not a common case. So it's better when your partner from, when we are talking about the partner countries, it's up to you. So it's really very flexible.
Okay, thank you very much. I see that Lika from Georgia, National Erasmus Plus Office Georgia, has a question. You're welcome.
Yeah, hello, Andrei. I have maybe a specific question. I mean, question specific to Georgia. What about participants from breakaway regions, from non-recognized territories, actually? So I understand that organizations might have problems, but what about individuals and their participation possibilities? Maybe you can give more insights about it. Thank you.
That's a very good question. Thank you, Lika. And actually, our approach in the frame of Erasmus Plus program is very simple. International, and we can involve disputed territories only in the case when they will introduce themselves as legally recognized country. For example, it works in the case of Moldova. Majority of Transnistrian organizations, they have also registration in Moldova, and they have double, triple citizenship. So for majority of Transnistrian NGOs, it's not a problem to come for international activity and to introduce themselves that I'm coming from Transnistria, Moldova. But it doesn't work in other disputed territories in the region. So it's more. In Ukraine, we had also such cases, organizations from Crimea and occupied also were participating as official Ukrainian organizations because they also had Ukrainian legal entity. But yes, each time it's also about security of participants. It's also about, I mean, we need to take into consideration different issues. But what, for example, we decided in the case of the European Solidarity Corps programs that we can award quality label to organizations from the disputed territory for sending activities. So it's possible, for example, to send volunteers from Transnistria to a program country. It's not possible to host volunteers in Transnistria because of security reasons. And this year, actually, the new EU program was launched, which is called EU for Dialogue. And this program is planned for 4 years. And the idea of this program is to provide, first to identify and then to needs and then to provide support for youngsters and youth workers coming from disputed territories or affected by conflicts in South Caucasus and Moldova. So we also believe that due to this additional EU for Dialogue program, we will also be able to identify more potential partners and then find some solutions how they can be involved. But for sure, we are not allowed to invite institutions from this disputed territories as legal entities only from this territory.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andrei and Lika, for the question. If there is no more questions, I would like to take this opportunity and to thank Andrei for his presentation and that he also supports a lot Low Eastern Partnership countries to participate and become active within Erasmus Plus youth actions. And we hope that it would be also more opportunities to welcome you in our countries and that you participated in offline events, which we would organize together in synergy with Salta Youth, with the information centers and with also our ministries of youth and sports, and to strengthen actually the promotion of the program. Thank you very much and good luck on your trip furthermore. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have to leave now, so I wish you a fruitful meeting, and I believe that that's a good starting point of our further cooperation. So I'm looking forward to our future meetings. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And now we also would like to move further according to our agenda. and to welcome all the information centers of Erasmus Plus Youth and European Solidarity Corps from our Eastern Partnership countries. Not all of them were able to join also because they are on move, they are on mobility at the moment. Some of them are on the mobility in the moment and with the difficult access to the internet. So then we have the colleagues who would cover all regions, of course, and we'll speak on the colleagues' behalf too. Let me introduce Ramiz Aliyev from the Info Center Azerbaijan. Ramiz, we would be interested to hear how about the role of the info centers within the promotion of the program. What are you doing? So just if you brief us shortly, what is the key role of the info centers within Erasmus Plus?
Okay, thank you, Svetlana, and hi everyone. My name is Ramiz. I'm a coordinator of Info Center Erasmus Plus Youth and European Solidarity Corps programs in Azerbaijan. So we do these services. Actually, this initiative started from 2017, but we are coordinating it from 19th till now. So what's our role? So we do the youth programs, information sessions and the consultations for youth and youth organizations. So we have, how Andrei mentioned, we have three key roles, which is increase the quality of the projects, youth projects in Azerbaijan, and to increase the number of the benefits, youth organizations and plus youth. So we are mainly also cooperating with the government to promote this program, to approach the organizations and youth in regions. Actually, yesterday from next year, Info Center will be supported financially also by the Ministry of Youth and Sport of Azerbaijan. So we get the funding for the additional activities. Actually, we plan for next year translate the guideline Erasmus Plus for youth side, not education. So we have a mandate only about work with non-formal education programs. So we will translate the guideline Erasmus Plus youth side and plus European Solidarity Corps guideline for the young people and for the youth organizations. Because we could have some barriers with language barrier, which is we need to take this barrier for the young people and youth organizations. So we do info sessions, do the individual consultations for youth and youth organizations. We try to give them more information in universities, in different youth centers. Actually, you know, in Azerbaijan, we have around 40 youth centers and regions. So we do the visits to these youth centers, to have big events, to inform, to do the presentation, answer the questions of the youth, and raise awareness about this opportunities, about these programs. So generally, our job is kind of things how Andrei mentioned, we have very few accredited organizations who have a call to label for the hosting and sending process. We're trying to motivate youth organizations to be in this process. Also make a more awareness between youth about this program. So general, we are actually say all the info centers have the same activities. Maybe my colleagues will say different points also about the programs. So in general, our role is to give them more non-formal information about the non-formal education opportunities.
Thank you very much, Ramiz, for the briefing us of what exactly the activities you are performing. And that's really very good that you are synergizing and cooperating also with the Erasmus office in Azerbaijan, as we heard from Paris before. And let me come to Moldova Info Center, to Sergei Gregileu, if I pronounce your surname correctly. Sergei, will you elaborate a little bit more just the activities you perform to provide support to the individuals on mobility, on Erasmus mobility, and to organizations. Does it cover only like mobility actions or also other actions of Erasmus+? You're welcome.
Yeah, I would say I can say that we're covering not only mobility, but also we're working on developing organization in order to become a part of Erasmus Plus and European Solidarity Corps. For now, we are in this year. We have some info sessions. We have some support of organization. We have a few trainings in which we provide information and we told to organization how they can become beneficiaries of programs of European Solidarity Corps and Erasmus Plus. Also, we saying about the mobilities. We have a lot of information sessions, where we are going to universities or lyceums, and we're sharing those opportunities. We're involved also in organizing and participating at different kind of fairs and meetings where we are sharing those opportunities to youth and non-governmental organization. Also, not so far ago, we were organizing the meeting of Erasmus Plus alumni. We chose 14 people, 14 people from Moldova, and we started were involved in Erasmus Plus activities, and we started the project of alumni, in which we are supporting them, in which we're giving them possibilities to develop some projects in Moldova in order to make Erasmus Plus and European Solidarity Corps more available for the people in need. So if you have more questions.
Great, thank you very much. So it is really important from the point of view of the overarching priority, like inclusion in the new program Erasmus Plus. Thanks a lot. I'm sure that your experience would be also very useful to other countries to see how you would include and work more on the inclusive target audience to be more involved within the Erasmus Plus program, and specifically that Erasmus Plus provides the special support or additional support for the inclusive target audience. Thank you very much, Sergei. And coming now to Georgia, Georgi Kikalishvili. Georgi, just will you share with us a little bit on maybe your experience and how you best target your target audience, if I may say so, within your activities?
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm very glad to share our experience and the work we do in our center. Yes, covering actually the mission of the info centers is to provide the information to all interested stakeholders and young people, especially those who have the less opportunities. Therefore, we do target institutions and these community-based organizations in the rural areas. And we have some of the success also in this regards. How we do it? Basically, we try to contact the local municipalities and find the NGOs or community-based organizations in the region. It's not easy, especially to make them to involve in this program, but slowly it's happening. And we are very glad to also share some of the successes in this regard. Is that we have few municipalities, one municipality so far who obtained the quality label, and now we are working with 3 others. Besides that, we also joined this concept of Europe Goes Local, which also is coordinated by the info centers in the region. And until now, we have 4 municipalities in Georgia who joined this initiative. And we recently developed the action plan, which aims also slowly but surely to get into this program. So namely, first they get this, all these local mobility tools signing in, then applying or trying to apply for the quality label, and start hosting and sending the volunteers. This is our practice. But for 2022, we decided to target 2 regions of Georgia where the ethnic minorities are living. We recently established a contact with the organizations there, and we try to work with them. I would not say that it goes like super promoted, but we have some success and some achievements.
Thank you very much, Georgia. We see that you work also with the local municipalities and also the national municipalities, as we understand, in order to the national authorities to reach the target audience, to reach the young people and youth organizations in your country, right? Okay, thank you very much. And now we are going to Ukraine, to the information center in Ukraine. And I see today with us Anna Kovasiuk and Irina Novak, who we have been working since the very beginning and establishment in Ukraine. And I really appreciate a lot of work that you're find the good practice of the Azerbaijan Info Center, where we got the additional funding from the ministry to co-fund the Info Center. I would like to ask you about your experience of being the Info Center. What is the most challenging you consider in terms of your work as the Information Center for Erasmus Plus Youth?
Thank you, Svetlana. Thank you for good words, and hello, everyone. Basically, the most challenging, I don't know, it's like, for example, for the recent years, the most challenging was that because of this pandemic and the stuff, that it's really challenging for organizations to do their projects in general, and that's why we've got less requests and less interest to the programs because of that. And because organizations were paralyzed, they didn't know how to work, and that's why they didn't were really interested in this project, in these programs, because they had no opportunities to use them. But we, as info centers, we started to provide additional support organizations to do events and to do informational activities and online trainings about how to change how to adapt and how to change your work, your activities to these new realities, how to do more online things or some blended things, or how to work in terms of quarantine and this traveling restrictions and so on. So it became that, as my colleague said, we have very similar activities and similar things to do, but as there are new conditions come, info centers also have to adapt and have to provide some new forms of support to organizations, and to not just talk about these opportunities, but also talk about which activities you can do, and which what you can do, like as organizations, you can organize your internal work as organizations, and your work with volunteers, your work with your partners, and so on. So yeah, that was the most challenging. But in generally, there are many organizations in Ukraine which are interested in the program, and if they apply to us, we always try to provide them all the needed resources and information. And there is another challenge, as Ramis said, that there are language barrier for many organizations. So there is a certain number of organizations which are already involved in the program, but there are also organizations which are not involved because they do not have enough resources, and they cannot just simply read the conditions of the program. So we also to support in that, and we used to translate the program guide for Solidarity Corps, European Solidarity Corps, and I know that your team, Svetlana, translated the Erasmus Plus program guide. So it was, you know, these resources are available for organizations, and we also provide organize webinars in Ukrainian, explain organizations about the programs and how they can use it. So yeah, that's briefly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we also remember your experience of having the kind of photo competition of the just pictures, like Erasmus Youth in Pictures, where you provided and promoted the project teams, so already participated as well as individuals. And it was also a very good initiative to make a kind of visibility of how Erasmus changes the life of young people in Ukraine. Thank you very much, and we hope to cooperate also and synergize with you in the future. And maybe just together we need to create a kind of survival guide, under Erasmus for all who are facing different challenges within the actions participating in Erasmus Plus projects, or implementing the projects within these challenging times of COVID-19 and other actually factors which are currently influenced the normal Erasmus Plus implementation, we would say. Thank you very much, Anna. And we also have today a very special guest with us, or partner as well, and the active participant of the projects and Erasmus Plus, and the organization which implements the projects and also do promotion of the projects within within Armenia. And that's Armenian Progressive Youth Organization, and Grigor Yeritsan. You're very welcome to share your experience working with the info centers, and also how do you perceive actually what we are all doing in order to promote, and also what is your organization experience within Erasmus Plus Youth Action. You are very welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for the invitation to join today's meeting. As Svetlana presented, I am the head of Armenian Progressive Youth Movement, that is one of the largest movements here in Armenia. It is trying to engage, inspire young people to be active in the society, economy, politics, civic life, and doing this through non-formal education and promotion of volunteering. Well, as it was rightfully mentioned, we have implemented many Erasmus Plus mobility programs, Solidarity Corps programs, and I have to say that Erasmus Plus is indeed a life-changing opportunity for young people. It's for some, it's a one-time life-changing opportunity. For some, it becomes well, part of their life, as it is for me now.
We do not hear you.
It's an opportunity. Do you hear me now? Do you hear me?
Yes, now yes. Okay.
Okay.
I can see you now as well. Welcome.
Yes, what I was saying, that it's also an opportunity to bridge the gap between, let's say, the university education, labor market, to learn new skills, to network, to improve your language. And we have seen hundreds of young people growing out of these Erasmus programs, becoming young professionals, change makers, and a valuable asset for our local society. So it's really probably the best what the European Union has ever offered through its programs. Unfortunately, I cannot speak on behalf of the Info Center because it's run by a different organization in a different city that we of course collaborate with. But to share our experience, I would say that Erasmus in Armenia, and it has been said that Armenia is one of the most active countries involved, it's really a program that young people know, that young people want to join, want to experience. And for us as youth organizations, it has been instrumental to grow as an organization, especially in the years of 2012 and 13, where when we were also able to directly implement programs in collaboration with our partners, it has been instrumental to grow, to learn how to manage organizations, how to implement big programming, how to strategize, how to fundraise, and basically to become stronger as youth organizations. Today, many years after, a lot of organizations grew, and today they are part of decision-making processes that are part of advocacy for rights of young people. So Erasmus is not only about traveling, exchanging, having fun. It's also about growing as a young person, growing as a responsible citizen, and giving back to your community. Many young people who did not speak any English, joining a youth exchange, becoming motivated to learn languages, come back with the motivation to do more, to see more, to explore more, and they become better than they were before.
Your connection is dropped now.
So this would be my Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes, now we can see you.
Okay, at one point the connection was interrupted. So this is what I have to say today. If you have any other questions, I'll be glad.
Thank you very much for your inputs and actually that you share your experience. And we indeed agree with you that this is a kind of exchange and learning experience. And in every mobility, you are for sure have a learning experience in top up for the meeting with the people, with the peers, and cooperating a lot across borders, and also to see how the life is out of your own box, out of your country, out of your city. As we also, there are a lot of surveys saying that many people are just staying within their cities and never travel even within their country, not talking about abroad. And also this kind of initiative is crucial for people to see their peers, to see their colleagues, to set up new contacts, and then to develop this network all over the world. Thank you very much for your contribution. And we actually provided the opportunity to ask questions within the comments under the Facebook streaming pages, and still we do not have that much questions. That should be addressed now. Let us then maybe move further to the next session and asking about the communicating about the experience and actually the roles of the National Erasmus Plus offices within the promotion of the program, and in particular in the youth actions. Now we already have heard from Ivana and from Andriy about the really like the key window remains the Salt Youth Resource Center and also the information centers in our countries, while there is a few also there are some roles which the National Erasmus Plus offices would play in this program in terms of the promotion. And let me invite now and to this session our National Erasmus Plus offices, my colleagues, and we also share with you some information about the virtual exchanges for higher education and youth, since this is the promotion of this part is no mandate, and it is the priority for our Eastern Partnership countries having this specific also funding for this program. Let me invite Rika Glonti from Erasmus Plus to share her thoughts about the role of the National Erasmus Plus office and also to speak Eastern Partnership countries. Lika, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone for this great opportunity. Our offices have been established with a primary job to support Erasmus Plus programs in the field of higher education. Actually, this was one of our main mandates. Having said that, it doesn't mean that it excluded other Erasmus Plus programs, and we all have enjoyed quite a close communication and collaboration with our local Erasmus Plus youth info centers. So we all know each other, we have attended each other's events, and we are following each other's Facebooks and websites and watching quite closely what our colleagues are doing. There could be sometimes informational mismatch. For example, we in Georgia very often get questions from young people who want to get more information about the Erasmus Plus Youth Program, and we are forwarding these questions to our info center. They in turn get questions about Erasmus programs for students and forwarding them to us. So it's kind of coming and going situation. Right now, from the coming years, there are changes in our mandate. So we are supposed also to be more involved in Erasmus Plus promotion in general, including also youth activities. It doesn't mean that we are intervening in the job of our info centers, because they are doing great job. And what I also want to underline, I think it's very important that our info centers are closely cooperating with governmental agencies. Our colleague from Azerbaijan has mentioned it. I know that in Georgia is the same situation. I know that in Ukraine is the same situation. And I think it's a very good sign that our governmental agencies, in our case, is the Ministry of Culture, Sport and Youth, so they have also supported these programs. In terms of financial support, I don't think that we can do much, because I have now to cry a bit, because our local budgets have been cut up to 40%, but we are open for any type of joint events, and let be today's event a good example of it and a good beginning for it. It's the starting point, because we are going more and more virtual. We are all very digital and green now, so we have to save money and control our carbon footprint and whatever. So we will be open to share these opportunities with our colleagues from youth program. And there are also certain programs where youth and higher education institutions and also vocational training centers can do projects together. I think after our intervention, I will also have time to talk a bit more about the virtual exchanges program. But right now, I give it further to my colleagues from Moldova and Ukraine to top up the message about the role of NEO. Thank you very much, Sveta, for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Lika. And Claudia Nalinte from the National Erasmus Plus Office, Moldova. You're welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And thank you for this opportunity to intervene in this unique and first our regional cooperation with info centers and with NEOs. It is really a new experience for us. As Lika said, already in Moldova, our cooperation is also very strong with the info center in Moldova. But indeed, our focus was in previous mandate more on the activity on higher education, and our contacts with young people was focalized more on students. So even if it's so now the situation will change, we will more and more be involved in cooperation and with activity with young people. But I think for the first time we will continue this good cooperation with the info center in Moldova. We will organize the joint meeting, the joint events, and we will see how we could increase and improve this cooperation in the future. But indeed, we cooperate and coordinate our events together. We will have organized several expeditions, how to say, in the region in Moldova, and we always invited the representative of the Info Center to share with us and with the young people in region the opportunity of the Erasmus Plus program in the field of youth and the Solidarity Corps. So I'm sure that this support of NEO will be only increased in the future, and I'm sure that we will increase the participation of young people and the future framework of the Erasmus Plus program. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Claudia. And also I would like to thank and to appreciate the information centers for youth and the European Solidarity Corps that they actually synergize during the events and agree to jump into the events which we organize in education sphere. And also we always have a kind of a specific session devoted to the youth actions, devoted to the opportunities open for students from higher education institutions, but also from the youth organizations. So that's a very good synergy, and we really hope to continue it. And in terms of the work with the target audience, we are trying to reach also in Ukraine more young organizations and more young people through cooperation with the youth councils, top up to the info centers and to the youth centers, which are widely now spread up across Ukraine. And of course, we hope to strengthen our cooperation with the Ministry of Youth and Sports in Ukraine, together with the Info Center, to organize the planning of the events for promotion of the opportunities in order to reach more people in Ukraine, more young people in Ukraine, to jump into the program. Even though we have good statistics currently and impressive statistics, and we say comparing to other countries in the region, but of course is not enough comparing to the size of our country and the number of young people and youth organizations we have in Ukraine. So we're going to think and to see how we could work better in order to make the promotion and synergizing, of course, with the Salta Youth Resource Center, with the info centers in the regions, and also with the national authorities and local authorities, and also other youth organizations and networks already very active throughout all Ukraine. So with this in mind, that we have our role to promote also the focus on the virtual exchanges opportunities. I would like to say that, in fact, our other colleagues were with us today in the morning, but since this is the beginning of the program opened in the 24th of November, they have to do in parallel a lot of other events, as well as the some info centers who didn't join us today. We would like to say on their behalf that you can always rely on them and contact them, and we have all contacts of the NEOs, all contacts of info centers. We will share the presentation also with the useful resources with you after the event, and you can find out all details which are very important for you to jump into the program. Lika, I would like to come back to you to request you to share with us a little bit on the Erasmus Plus virtual exchanges opportunity, which actually could become the projects in cooperation with not only Ukraine, but also Georgia and all other countries in the region. Am I right?
I was muted, sorry. I will share my screen again.
You're welcome.
Okay, traditional question, can you see the shared presentation or not?
We can see your presentation, just not in the translation mode. Okay, now it's perfect.
Yeah, now it's good. Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. Actually, this is a compilation of presentations which we've done from what has been already shared with us by our colleagues from executive agency. And we will share by the end, the last slide is also with all the useful links where actually the bigger presentations are there. So there was a special info day about Erasmus Plus virtual exchanges held a couple of days ago. So we are now in the series of these virtual events, but you will also get the link to it. This is a new program. Actually, this is a novelty which is now stated in the program guide, and I want to encourage you to be very actively involved in this particular call. So what is the context? Why the virtual exchange? It's not COVID induced. Actually, COVID outbreak has only facilitated and enhanced the importance of virtual exchanges. This particular project idea has been around for last 3 years, so well before COVID started. It has already gone through the piloting process. It was a pilot project of virtual exchanges between program countries and Southern Mediterranean countries. So all colleagues from Arab countries and Israel have been participating in it, and it has different aspects. Of course, one of it is enhancing number of potential beneficiaries. So not everyone is able to pack the suitcase and get on plane and go to Europe or vice versa. So this is an idea to enhance the number of beneficiaries, to boost international cooperation, to support green and digital transitions. Again, we are here back to green and digital aspects, which are now very highly praised. And of course, this pandemic has also said its words that due to these heavy restrictions on travel, virtual exchanges are getting more and more important. So what are virtual exchanges? These are people-to-people activities to promote intercultural dialogue. If you go to the guideline, you will see that there are virtual exchanges in the field of higher education or in the field of youth. And this is particular case when you cannot mix them between, so it's either done for youth or either done for higher education field. I'm going further. Yes, intercultural dialogue, critical thinking development. So in case of youth, it's all about non-formal education. So you need a trainer, a facilitator, and then you need the groups of young people who will be sharing experience, working on certain projects. And most important, having a dialogue between each other. And this is really very important. So here we can really involve higher number of participants because we can here save, let's say, travel costs. What are expected outcomes? So how these projects have to be designed, discussions, as already mentioned, training of youth workers for virtual exchanges, and open online courses, MOOCs, more or less similar activities are supposed for higher education, but I deliberately took them out of this presentation in order not to mix them up. Important point is that these projects have to rely as much as possible on existing tools and platforms. There could be, in very well justified cases, funds for equipment or software purchase, but usually they count on the fact that our organizations already can use Zoom or Teams or Google Meet or whatever. So there is not much budget foreseen for equipment, and this is a very important message I want to pass to you. It's about changes, it's about innovation, it's about new communication. Again, the project must have participants from one sector only. So it must be only about youth or only about our education. That doesn't exclude, for example, universities to be participant of the project, but in that case, it mustn't be a part of formal education. And again, important message, these exchanges are virtual, but participants must be based in the country of origin of the partner organization. So our young people have to get involved from Armenia, from Azerbaijan, from Georgia, from Ukraine, from Moldova. So they have to be based in our countries to be part of this exchange. Important topics, deadline is 22nd of February, but generally we are operating in very tight deadlines. Actually, the program guide has been published by the end of November, and all the important deadlines are already in February, so please don't lose time. Budget for the Eastern Partnership region is quite limited. It's 750,000 euro, and the maximal budget per project is 500,000 euro, which means, but at the same time, this is about maximal budget. So we can go with lower budget, and I would recommend you to go with lower budget in order to enable our region to get maybe 2 or 3 virtual exchange programs, because this is really limited budget. What is important, the projects are limited to specific regions, which means that organizations participating must be from our region, and you cannot go cross-regional. For example, you cannot do the project together with your colleagues from Kazakhstan or from Israel. We have to stay in the Eastern Partnership region when it comes to beneficiary countries. Duration of these projects are 3 years, and for consortium, you need public or private organizations active in the field of use from program countries. They should be coordinators, so we are acting here only as partners. There could be also full partners, both from program and partner countries, and I will show in the next slide how the consortium would look like. And we can also possibility to add associated partners. Associated partners are not getting any funds. So they are not getting money, but they could have an added value as participants of consortium. So they have their participation, their involvement in consortium should be justified. So why you need to involve this or that organization as associated partner? So that should be justified. I mean, you are not newcomers when it comes to project development and budget development, so you know all these features. Just a kind reminder about Erasmus geography. So we are still using our old jargon and calling them program and partner countries. Actually, in the guideline, you will find both names, but the correct one right now is for the blue countries, who we used to call program countries, is member states and associated third countries. So these are EU member states plus Norway, Iceland, Liechtenstein, North Macedonia, Serbia, and Turkey. And the rest of the world are non-associated third countries. These virtual exchanges right now are not open to the whole world. Our region is part of this program, so we have access to these exchanges, which is a nice thing. Now, how the consortium must look like? We need a minimum 2 youth organizations from 2 or more different Erasmus program countries, and one of them should act as coordinator and applicant. And then minimum of 2 youth organizations from 2 or more partner countries within the same Erasmus Plus region. Okay, now we are talking about the Eastern Partnership. Again, I want to encourage you to increase the number of partner countries from our region, increase the number of youth organizations in order to have more beneficiaries by the end of the day. But at the same time, please don't go with 500,000 euro budget for one project, and keep in mind that there are only 750,000 euro available for our region in total. So, and we want to have more projects, so maybe at least one big project of virtual exchanges in youth and one big project on virtual exchanges in higher education. So don't be greedy with your budgets. An important message is that the number of organizations from program countries for our blue countries may not be higher than the number of organizations from the partner countries, so from our regions. I mean, this is nothing new for you, but just to keep in mind, to be reminded about it. Additional award criteria: the relevance of the project is important, quality of project design, implementation, project consortium and cooperation arrangements, and impact. Okay, impact is traditionally a very important aspect, and please pay attention to it. Again, the projects must be submitted by the program country organization, but of course, you as partners should be, and I would say must be, heavily involved in project development and design, and that's an important part. I'm not going further with many details, we don't have time, but please take these two links seriously. On 30th of November, we had a big online info session on virtual exchanges. And when you go to this link, you will see the video of this seminar, and all the presentations are there. Among these presentations are very detailed presentations about budgeting and about submission, because all the project applications now go through the funding and tendering portal. It's not an easy process, so please be aware that you might need up to 2 days to upload your presentations there, because we all know that EU projects are quite bureaucratic and not very user-friendly. So, and this funding and tender portal, which is called also FTOP, is not kind of easy one. So talk to your partners from program countries and make them also aware of this these specifics, that you will need more time. Deadline is 22nd of February, as I already mentioned. And please listen carefully to these presentations and have a look on downloaded presentations about budgeting specifically. And another link is about European Youth Portal. And here you can find, when you go to this Youth Portal, you will find also results of the piloted project. I mentioned at the beginning that there was a pilot virtual exchange project between Europe and Southern Mediterranean countries, and you can use this as, let's say, inspiration, as a good example, and as an idea what could be done within this project. I mean, it seems to be quite a successful one, so please have a look at this specific portal too. I was trying to be very brief because I know we are all quite tired right now, but I strongly recommend you to go to this 30th of November presentation site and have a very careful look at specifics of the virtual exchanges. And we do hope that we will have in our region, as I mentioned, at least 2 big virtual exchange projects in each sector, for youth and for higher education. Thank you very much for your attention. That was all from my side. And I will stop sharing now my screen. If you have questions, I'd be glad to answer them. As far as I've been also trained just lately about virtual. So this is a new reality for us too, so keep that in mind too. So we also get involved in this new reality recently, and we were also carefully listening to all these presentations, reading the guideline, and sometimes being confused with this guideline and all this nice stuff. So thank you very much, and please use this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Lika, for the very good presentation and with the tips on how to actually apply, and the encouragement and inspiration to apply for such kind of new initiative for virtual exchanges. And we also would like to mention that within such opportunity, you would still have the opportunity to have the physical exchange, not exchanges, but physical mobility, like a small one, but still the opportunity maybe to do some kind of preparatory work, some management issues, and also if there is some activities which within your virtual planning require some physical opportunities to work on specific topics, discussions, forums, or thoughts exchanges, you still could budget it within it as well. And then also go beyond also the youth organizations, invite other stakeholders who are working with youth. It is also the opportunity to cooperate closely and synergize with all organizations working in youth sectors, and including the authorities, also like national, regional, and local authorities, to be involved as also the stakeholders at the policy level, who we also encourage you to contact to discuss actually the priorities within the youth strategies of the local countries, as all program overarching priorities are set up, as well as the regional priorities, and in some cases, some regional priorities, which we hear today from Ivana and from Andriy. But again, all starts also from the needs analysis at the local level and national level. So this is also quite a huge focus on the homework to be done before the writing the proposals and providing information to the your international partners who are maybe writing or going to apply on behalf of all partners. So just do not forget to bear it in mind that it's a kind of synergy and would say stakeholders cooperation, which could benefit from these virtual exchanges, as well as the mobility opportunities and cooperating partnership we heard today from Ivana and Andrei. And there was one question in the chat. I apologize that we missed it during the Andrei's presentation about the language of submission of the applications. It was the question whether it is possible to submit applications in other languages than English, for example, French. And Andrei confirmed that French, English, and German are the languages of the proposals which could be submitted actually on the Mobility and Cooperation Partnership Action. So that's like the official language of the program for submission of applications. That was his message in the Facebook on his way to other events and to other countries currently, and really appreciate that he shared it with us. Just maybe come back to our colleagues if there are any questions or comments from the sites of our info centers and maybe other NEOs at the moment. Not so far. Then maybe just let me share one very small presentation with you in order to show some quite small opportunity for the resources actually, which could be then quite visible during the implementation of the youth actions based on partnership. Just we will provide this presentation for you after the event, and just let me show you that we prepared the kind of the links to the key EU policies and the Erasmus Plus overarching priorities. And also for Ukraine, we did kind of more based on the national EU policy, national policies and the cooperation policies and the Eastern Partnership countries, which could be helpful for you also when you're working on the application forms together with your international partners to make kind of justification of the relevance, which is under each opportunities and each open calls are also always have the highest points for the award criteria, among other things. So then within these strategies, you could have the like inspiration to see what is going to be the key like impact after all, and just providing you some links, direct links to the program guide. We provided also the translation into Ukrainian, like the part English and Ukrainian of the program guide for now, with the direct links to each part of the program guide, which is now very easy to read with this online version and also the PDF version. And also we provided you with the resources of the opportunities for individuals, which are mostly promoted and provided by the Salto Youth Resource Center calendar, then also Eurodesk and info centers in our countries. And Eurodesk network also is a very good resource for you to contact.
Your slides are not moving. Your slides are not moving.
Okay, let me then try to stop sharing.
Go on full screen, please.
Yeah, okay, let me share it. Okay, not that way. Okay. Can you see them now?
We can see, but on full screen, and maybe then it will be easier to move them. We can see now, yes.
Okay, maybe then I will try to do similar way as Andrei did.
But anyways, this presentation will be also shared, so we can also send it.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So you see now opportunities for individuals, right? Lika, will you help me, because I do not see what you see.
Opportunities for individuals. Yes, you are
Great.
there.
Great. Okay, thanks a lot. So just we provided also some useful links where you can find out the Erasmus Plus project platform, the results of the projects. Choose youth action, so choose your country, or choose actually the organization type or year of selection of the project or year of the implementation of the project, and you'll find out a lot of useful information and materials there, not only from the point of view to have a kind of an understanding what are these projects about, but also to see that you have some synergy already, or you just might plan some synergy with the current projects, and also you may just avoid the duplication of something which already done. And in addition, there are results of each project implemented in youth actions, and you could find out the useful guidelines, the tips, the promotional materials, the information about the events, how they were performed, some pictures, of course, some experience and testimonials of the participants, and that might also help you to find partners within that kind of project results platform, in addition to the resources which Andrei today mentioned. And also let me mention some other opportunities which are open for you as the youth organizations and as young people maybe. Just for youth organizations, you can become partners in a capacity building project for higher education, just in case you can justify your importance for the objective of the project. While, for example, maybe your organization is working closely with the inclusive target audience, and for the university, it is important to have more practices on how to involve people with special needs or people with disabilities, and you have already this practice within your NGO, within your youth organization, or maybe you already implemented the projects where you developed a lot of resources and your best practices, which you could share now to teach the students how to work with that. So just be very cooperative with your universities in order to see what are other opportunities where you could become partners within Erasmus Plus and other initiatives they are performing, as they also have a very strong focus on the students, on the youth, on the young people, and working together. As well as the Jean Monnet actions, you cannot be partners in these projects, unfortunately, but you can become the target audience of the idea of the project. So again, working with the universities, you could jump into the several trainings or events or researches they performed for you as the target audience of the youth organizations, in particular of the topic or in particular of the field that your organization is working now. Then, of course, as the individuals, if you study at the university, you can benefit from the international credit mobility opportunities to go for study period, for exchange, or the traineeship. And in this case, please refer to your university about such opportunities, as it is the bilateral one. In addition, since this year, we're going to have some more opportunities for the young people who studied at the vocational education and training institutions. And from the next year, they would also have the opportunities to, in fact, jump into the mobility part and also to host the international students, to host the international staff within the institutions. And in fact, your youth organization could host the international students for the internship, just like being a partner of the universities in Ukraine or in other Eastern Partnership countries, or having the contacts with the universities of program countries, like from EU member states and other associated countries for the program. You could become the hosting organizations, and we have now the examples in Ukraine in particular to host the foreign students, the international students, in cooperation with the universities and in cooperation with the NGOs, embassies, and other types of organizations, municipalities, for example. And another one, the useful resource and useful opportunity within Erasmus, that's Erasmus Mundus joint master degrees, where you could find in the catalog the opportunities provided by different consortium, where you could have the pathway of your study in a minimum 2 different countries, and they would be from the countries associated from the program to the program, but also the consortium goes beyond, and all countries in the world, all the universities, best universities and other organizations are involved into the providing the excellent Erasmus Mundus joint master degree courses and programs for the students and for the young people from all over the world. All information about these opportunities are available also at the Erasmus Plus offices, and you can consult us on any educational opportunities from the point of view of the formal education. And some projects also provide some opportunities for the informal one. So that is why please do not forget also to follow our websites and our social medias of the Erasmus Plus offices in our Eastern Partnership countries. In addition, the good engine or good tool to find the opportunity to study in Europe, like the one you can see here in the slide, like Study in Europe, find your country, find your grants, and find the opportunities for further exploration, I would say, for the educational system in Europe. And you can see there and search a lot of information, not only about the system, but also the opportunities open for you. Please do not forget to apply and to find the opportunity for you. Then we also provided you another 2 important platforms where you could find out and register your organization, which is the first step always to register organization. And even if you have the like the union of young people, which is not yet officially registered, you could also become the partners in some mobility opportunities. Just do not forget to explore it. But in any case, you have to register within the portals, which depending on the application either to the national Erasmus Plus agencies or to the centralized actions through the European Executive Agency for Education and Culture, would bring you to have the OID or PIC number to become visible, or to become to jump into the application form as the partner. So these 2 first tools for portals are extremely important for you from the point of view of the not only first step in the program, but also the opportunities, the call details, the selection, the application, and also the results and signing agreement for the to implement the project. We also provided you the networks, the contacts of our networks, where you should also find some more information and resources for the use. We are currently redesigning a little bit our websites in order to provide you more information on the opportunities which are open for youth in our countries, and where you can find the better resources and better information to help you to apply and to implement your projects successfully. So that's like a little bit from our side to sum up what you've heard today, and with the resources which are available for you within our Eastern Partnership countries, within the European Commission provided a lot of access to the opportunities and resources. So we still have some time scheduled in the program. Just let me have a look if there is any further questions from our partners and from the Facebook comments. Just if I may have a look very shortly also within our part.
So no questions in case of Georgia. I'm watching now our Facebook. No.
Okay, we do not have also yet questions from Ukraine. More questions from Ukraine? No, not at the moment.
Perfect.
Okay.
Everything more clear.
Great. Yeah. Just a lot of information, and there is a need to digest, in fact, and Just for us, it is important that you would see that this is the synergy and network and close cooperation to be established furthermore with the Salto Youth Resource Center and with the information centers. And we'd like to thank all of you who contributed to this event and that you jumped into this exercise together with us very quickly, with a very short notice. It was really quite important for us. And so now we only what we could do, start working or continue working on the opportunities and on the programs and on the applications. So thanks a lot to our colleagues again. And we're going to conclude by saying that as our Erasmus Plus, not Erasmus Plus, but Erasmus Rotterdamus quote, the most famous quote, that the hope of the nation depends on the proper education of its youth. So joining our efforts together and working together, we are all contributing to that. And thank you that you are in this process with us. And we really look forward to the more transformation and changes and development in our countries with the contribution from each of you who contributed and actually benefited from Erasmus Plus program. Thanks a lot to colleagues, and then see you next time, hopefully in the more regional opportunities, InfoDays, and also the local one. So good luck to all, and take care, stay safe and healthy. And once Erasmus, always Erasmus. So take the opportunity for that.
Thank you very much. We are now closing our Facebook Live and closing the recording. Thank you.